And so it happened that day by day, more people grew tired and disillusioned with the faith of their ancestors, while the number of those seeking truth in scientific schools of thought kept growing. Those who believed that humanity's only salvation was not in faith, but in discarding religion altogether and freeing themselves from the primitive and superstitious ideas of early humans. Gradually, a new current emerged, a new school of thought, those who introduced themselves as atheists. They believe that no God exists in the universe, and that all religions and religious teachings are nothing but a bundle of myths and superstitions, designed solely to hypnotize people and keep them obedient. And so humanity stood at a crossroads between choosing religions and traditions as old as civilization itself, or choosing science, which, though not new in essence, had with its modern discoveries cast a heavy shadow over religion and religiosity. A shadow so heavy that choosing religion over science seemed like an unforgivable folly. But the issue isn't as simple as it might appear, because science itself, despite all its astonishing and unbelievable achievements, suffers from very serious problems. And in fact, one of science's greatest weaknesses is its inability to answer life's most fundamental questions. Questions such as, what is the purpose of creation? What is the essence of life? What will become of the universe, and especially of humanity? These are the very questions before which science maintains a cold, deadly silence. A silence that makes us feel as though science and its staunch followers bear no responsibility for the life and destiny of human beings. And although science, when faced with questions beyond its scope of study and experimentation, gives an honest answer by saying, "I don't know yet," behind that honesty lies a very cruel admission. An admission that hangs like a nightmare over modern human life. The problem is, science repeats this "I don't know" with such emphasis, as if ignorance itself were a unique achievement and a great privilege. It's true that admitting ignorance shows admirable courage, and is the first step toward gaining knowledge. But when it comes to matters where knowing is of life or death importance, that courage counts for very little. Interestingly, when we reach this stage, scientific certainties vanish. The reliable formulas of math and physics that always work seem to disappear, and instead, everything turns into maybes, ifs, and perhapses. Maybe one day we'll find the answer. Maybe in the coming years, or perhaps in centuries ahead. And maybe this is the harshest insult to human intelligence. Why? Because it plays a ruthless game with humanity's greatest treasure, our very life and time. The problem is, science has no right to treat something this critical, which concerns the very existence of humanity, with such irresponsibility. On one hand, it says, "I don't know," and answering such a question is beyond my scope and authority. Which is fair enough, since the nature of death, the soul, time, the universe before the Big Bang, and the fate of the cosmos after collapse all lie beyond the material realm. But on the other hand, it mercilessly and decisively slaughters religious beliefs and faith in an afterlife, as if it were absolutely certain that no resurrection or creation of a new world will ever happen. So here's our essential question to science. How can we reconcile such a paradox? That when it comes to religion and belief, it rejects God and the afterlife with such certainty and without convincing proof. But when it's time to answer for itself, it shrugs and says, "There's nothing I can do. These matters lie beyond my reach." In other words, how can one dismiss religion as belief in a purposeful universe just because there isn't enough evidence, yet at the same time conclude without providing equally convincing evidence that the entire cosmos came about by mere accident and has no purpose at all? This contradiction in reasoning is a deep and obvious paradox. When science criticizes religion, it speaks with full certainty, but when it must answer for itself, it has nothing but doubts, uncertainties, and probabilities. And this is precisely the paradox science presents to us. With such a view, science reduces humans to nothing more than rational, speaking animals, with no goal other than survival and the pursuit of pleasure. Thus, morality itself becomes nothing more than an unwritten rule that, if survival requires, can be brutally slaughtered without hesitation. And this is the world Nietzsche spoke of when he said, "God is dead," warning that if we strip the world of metaphysics and spirituality, morality too will collapse, leaving only power and survival of the fittest. Kill so you won't be killed. Eat so you can stay alive. Science says spirituality doesn't exist, and simply because it can't observe or measure them, it feels justified in denying their existence. Yet it also admits that there might be things out there, but it doesn't currently have the tools to recognize them. Now tell me, how can anyone trust such a worldview? A worldview that could change at any moment, where certainty has no place. Because science is always growing and advancing, and perhaps just a few years from now, it may reach new conclusions that completely overturn the theories it claims are certain today. Let me make something important clear to you. This isn't about judging whether religious or scientific beliefs are right or wrong. It's about weighing the possibilities. The possibility that the universe does have a creator and a purpose, or the possibility that all existence, the entire cosmos, is nothing more than a blind, purposeless accident, with no meaning or significance behind it. The possibility that after death we live again, or that it's all just myths and illusions of the past, and death is the end of everything. Now here is the question. When you don't have enough data to confirm